Some people seem to move through life untouched by frustration. Traffic snarls, deadlines, minor injustices, they pass by like rain on glass. The world erupts in irritation, yet they remain calm, collected, seemingly immune to anger. This is not always indifference. It is often a deeply ingrained pattern of emotional regulation shaped by upbringing, temperament, and life experience. They suppress, absorb, or transform feelings that others express immediately and explosively. Their silence is not absence, it is containment. And yet the absence of anger is a double-edged sword. It can preserve harmony, sustain relationships, and cultivate inner peace, but it can also conceal resentment, unspoken boundaries, and unmet needs. To understand them, we must look beneath the serene surface into the quiet architecture of restraint, patience, and self-suppression. They move through the world with a steady rhythm. Challenges arrive like waves against the shore, yet their surface remains unruffled. A harsh word, a mistake, a minor injustice. They do not flare, shout, or lash out. Instead, they inhale, pause, and respond with measured calm, or sometimes no response at all. At first glance, this behavior appears effortless. Colleagues, friends, and family may marvel at their composure, assuming a naturally even temperament. But beneath the serene exterior lies a lifetime of adaptation, negotiation, and self-management. Anger is not absent, it is contained, recalibrated, and often translated into subtle channels: quiet observation, reflection, or mental processing. Socially, the calm surface carries both advantage and ambiguity. They avoid conflict, maintain harmony, and are perceived as reliable and steady. Yet this same calm can conceal frustration, disappointment, or unspoken boundaries, leaving others uncertain about their true feelings. The peace they cultivate is both a gift and a shield. Patterns of restraint often emerge early. Some learn that anger brings consequence, criticism, rejection, or disruption, and so they learn to temper it. Others model caregivers who themselves suppress emotion, internalizing the idea that serenity equals stability and expression equals risk. Over time, calmness becomes not just habit, but identity. Cognitively, they process provocations internally. The mind categorizes, weighs, and reframes potential triggers, transforming immediate irritation into deliberate assessment. The nervous system may register frustration, but behavioral responses are meticulously regulated, muscles relax, voice remains steady, and facial expression preserves neutrality. This calm is relationally adaptive. In workplaces, social gatherings, and family life, they are often the stabilizing force. They absorb tension, diffuse conflict, and maintain composure where others might escalate. People gravitate toward them, seeking reassurance, perspective, or emotional steadiness. Yet there is an invisible cost. The repeated suppression of anger can accumulate subtle pressure, manifesting as fatigue, irritability in private, or psychosomatic tension. Unspoken boundaries may erode, leaving them vulnerable to overcommitment, exploitation, or emotional overload. Serenity becomes a mask, a layer separating inner reality from outer expectation. Despite these tensions, there is undeniable strength in their demeanor. The calm surface requires awareness, self-discipline, and emotional intelligence. They understand both the potency of anger and the power of restraint, balancing impulse and reflection with a quiet expertise. The calm surface is not mere neutrality. It is a skillful, intentional stance toward life, a way of navigating human interactions without immediate reactivity. Yet, like all architecture, it has structure beneath it, roots, tension, and hidden currents that must be understood to grasp its full complexity. In this chapter, the calm surface introduces us to a paradox. They are present without eruption, aware without reaction, and engaged without visible disturbance. The visible serenity is only the beginning. The story of why it exists and how it shapes life unfolds in the chapters to come. The roots of restraint run deep, often intertwined with early experiences of family, culture, and social expectation. Some children grow up in homes where anger was met with disapproval, punishment, or withdrawal. A raised voice might signal danger, an outburst might fracture connection. From this environment, the child learns a quiet lesson: to survive, they must temper impulse, contain expression, and maintain composure. Modeling also plays a crucial role. Caregivers who themselves suppress emotion, who prioritize harmony or patience over immediate reaction, provide a living template. Children absorb these patterns, internalizing the idea that anger is risky, inconvenient, or morally undesirable. They watch adults navigate frustration with restraint, and gradually, imitation becomes habit. Temperament interacts with environment. Some children are naturally even, tempered, reflective, or sensitive to social cues. For them, avoidance of anger is easier, often aligning with innate tendencies toward observation, patience, and empathy. Others cultivate restraint as a learned skill, a tool to navigate social dynamics safely. Cultural norms amplify this learning. Certain societies value emotional moderation, equating calm demeanor with maturity, morality, or social intelligence. Expression of anger may be discouraged, stigmatized, or labeled as selfish. Within these contexts, children quickly recognize that calmness is rewarded and eruption is penalized. the subtle pressure to regulate becomes internalized as identity rather than mere behavior. Early experiences with conflict further shape restraint. Children who experienced unpredictable or unsafe emotional climates learn that voicing frustration can carry disproportionate risk. Even minor complaints or protests may provoke escalation or withdrawal from caregivers, siblings, or peers. Over time, the child develops a nuanced understanding the cost of expressing anger often outweighs perceived benefit. Anger suppression is adaptive, functional, and protective. It ensures safety, maintains relational bonds, and allows connection to endure under stressful circumstances. Yet, this adaptation comes at a price. Unexpressed frustration may accumulate silently, shaping patterns of avoidance, over-accommodation, or internal tension. By adolescence, restraint has often crystallized into habit. They navigate social situations with deliberate care, suppressing immediate irritation in favor of long-term relational stability. Their reputation may be one of patience, composure. To others, they seem unflappable. To themselves, restraint is both a shield and a shadow. Even when external circumstances reward calmness, internal costs can linger. Suppressed anger may manifest subtly: headaches, tension, irritability in private, or difficulty asserting boundaries. The early roots of restraint are structural. They form a foundation of behavior, identity, and emotional rhythm that shapes life long before conscious reflection arrives. Understanding these origins allows us to see the psychology of non-anger not as absence, but as adaptation. The calm exterior is a learned architecture of survival, social intelligence, and emotional economy. The early lessons, whether imposed, modeled, or absorbed, teach patience, harmony, and self-control while quietly shaping the interior life. And in these roots, we find the paradox of the person who never gets angry, strength forged in containment, resilience built in silence, and a mind trained to navigate the currents of human interaction with care and caution. The person who never gets angry possesses an intricate emotional architecture. Beneath calm eyes and measured words lies a nervous system finely tuned to both threat and harmony. They perceive tension, injustice, or irritation, but their body and mind modulate response, translating raw emotion into reflection, observation, or internal processing. Attachment theory provides insight. Many who suppress anger have developed early patterns of heightened sensitivity to caregivers' approval or disapproval. Secure attachment is rare. Instead, consistent responsiveness may have been conditional. They learn early that anger can fracture connection, so restraint becomes a protective tool, a way to maintain relational stability without asserting immediate need. Emotion regulation is both conscious and automatic. Cognitive control structures, prefrontal mechanisms of thought and inhibition, override limbic impulses toward frustration. Physiologically, the fight or flight response may still register internally. Muscles tense, heart rate quickens, cortisol spikes, but outward expression is muted. They contain emotional energy, redirecting it into reflection, problem solving, or subtle adaptation. Over time, suppression becomes habitual. Anger is not denied, it is managed, compartmentalized, or translated into socially acceptable forms. A quiet sigh, a mental critique, a journal entry, or creative outlet may serve as channels. The external world witnesses serenity, the inner world experiences controlled engagement. Cognitive appraisal plays a central role. They constantly evaluate situations. Is this worth expressing? Will this matter long term? What will the cost be to the relationship? Anger is weighed against consequence, relational harmony, and internal rules for appropriate conduct. This assessment occurs swiftly, often unconsciously, creating an almost automatic calmness. Yet suppression is double-edged. While it ensures social smoothness, it can create subtle tension. Boundaries may erode, resentment may accumulate, and authenticity can be compromised. Without self-reflection, the system risks over-adaptation, prioritizing harmony over self-expression, connection over personal integrity. Social perception reinforces this pattern. They are often admired for composure, respected for patience, and sought for mediation. Others assume they are unshakable, unbothered, or emotionally even tempered by nature. Few perceive the subtle effort, the internal negotiation, or the emotional labor required to maintain calm. Suppression also interacts with identity. The person who never gets angry may define themselves through serenity, patience, or adaptability. They see strength in control, virtue in composure, and stability in restraint. Yet beneath this identity lies awareness of what is deferred, frustration unexpressed, boundaries unasserted, and desires silently moderated. Neurologically, this pattern reflects learned pathways. Repeated inhibition strengthens circuits that regulate impulse and emotion, creating a reliable but effortful capacity for restraint. Over time, suppression becomes less effortful, but its presence is always a choice, consciously or unconsciously maintained. This chapter illuminates the psychology of suppression, not the absence of emotion, but the skillful management of it. A mind and body trained to navigate social landscapes, protect relationships, and maintain harmony, even when anger is present beneath the surface. In this architecture, calmness is not passive. It is active, intelligent, and deliberate, both a gift and a subtle tension. It allows navigation of human interaction with precision, yet it carries the quiet cost of unspoken frustration, deferred boundaries, and emotional negotiation within. Beneath serene composure lies a quiet friction. The person who never gets angry may appear unshakable, yet internally, a tension simmers, a balancing act between self and world, expression and restraint. Every interaction is filtered through this lens. How can I maintain harmony without losing myself? This inner conflict is subtle, often imperceptible to others. They feel frustration, hurt, or injustice, yet they suppress the immediate urge to respond. The anger exists, but it is tempered by a mental veto, a constant appraisal of consequence and appropriateness. Silence becomes a strategy, a shield, a method of survival and social intelligence. Boundaries are often tested. Without outward expression of anger, limits may erode silently. Requests denied, needs overlooked, or overcommitments accepted may go unchallenged. The mind notes these encroachments, catalogs them, yet the voice remains calm or absent entirely. Over time, the inner conflict deepens. Anger may transform into rumination, internal critique, or subtle resentment. Even as they preserve external harmony, they carry invisible weight. The cost of restraint is rarely dramatic, it is quiet, cumulative, and relationally diffuse. This tension can generate ambivalence toward connection. They value closeness and stability, yet sometimes envy those who can erupt, release, or assert without restraint. They see the ease in others' expression and wonder whether their calm comes at the expense of authenticity. Yet the conflict is also adaptive. By containing anger, they avoid unnecessary conflict, protect relationships, and maintain a sense of control over themselves and the environment. The inner friction is a sign of sensitivity, awareness, and moral consideration, not weakness. It reflects a mind constantly weighing impact, anticipating reaction, and preserving connection. Even small provocations require assessment. The person who never gets angry asks internally, "Is this worth response? Will speaking disrupt? Can I tolerate this?" The nervous system may register irritation, muscle tension, subtle cortisol shifts, but outwardly, the self remains calm, measured, and composed. This inner paradox shapes self-perception. They may pride themselves on patience, reliability, and reason, yet they also recognize the cost, deferred feelings, subtle resentment, and the occasional sense of invisibility. Harmony is maintained externally, but internally, emotion is contained, organized, and often isolated. Conflict manifests in quieter ways. Emotional fatigue, private reflection, or avoidance of triggering situations may emerge. Anger, though invisible, leaves its trace in tension, over-analysis, or subtle self-restriction. The inner conflict is not a failure, it is the shadow of sustained restraint, the hidden echo of suppressed intensity. In relationships, the paradox is palpable. They are reliable, calm, and steady, yet their emotional reality may remain obscured. Partners, friends, and colleagues see serenity, they rarely perceive the careful negotiation occurring beneath the surface. The challenge is not only restraint, it is sustaining authenticity while remaining composed. And yet, within this tension lies profound strength. They navigate life with foresight, empathy, and patience. They maintain connection, de-escalate conflict, and absorb tension without fracturing relationships. The inner conflict, though taxing, also cultivates wisdom, perspective, and subtle emotional intelligence. The calm exterior is not denial. It is the result of constant negotiation between inner truth and outer stability. The inner conflict is the shadow that accompanies restraint, a reminder that emotion, though invisible, is never absent. Awareness often arrives gently, without fanfare. It is a quiet noticing, a moment when the calm surface no longer feels automatic, when the patterns of restraint become visible to the self. They may catch themselves holding back in a conversation, deflecting irritation, or deferring need, and realize, this is my habitual calm. This is how I have lived. Sometimes awareness emerges externally. A trusted friend asks, "Do you ever get frustrated?" A partner notices their tendency to defer or accommodate. Even casual observation can spark reflection. I respond differently than others. I rarely assert, I rarely erupt. Why? Other times, it arises internally, through journaling, meditation, or quiet introspection. They confront the subtleties of their restraint. They see the deferred feelings, the contained intensity, the repeated compromises made in the name of harmony. There is no shame, only recognition. A slow acknowledgement of emotional patterns previously unconscious. Moments of awareness bring clarity. They begin to understand the adaptive nature of their calm. It protects relationships, preserves connection, and shields from conflict. They also recognize the costs: fatigue, unspoken boundaries, and sometimes subtle resentment. Calmness is both gift and compromise, an intricate balance of self and other, internal and external worlds. Awareness also fosters gratitude. They notice the skills cultivated through restraint, patience, emotional intelligence, perspective taking, and nuanced relational perception. The ability to navigate conflict without escalation is rare. What may have seemed like an absence of feeling is revealed as a mastery of emotional containment and social insight. Yet self-awareness brings choices previously unseen. They may begin to ask, when is it okay to speak my irritation? When can I assert myself without disrupting connection? The person who never gets angry discovers that restraint is not obligation. It is a tool, flexible and conscious rather than automatic. Insight allows them to reconcile paradoxes. Calmness need not mean invisibility, patience need not mean self-denial, and harmony need not demand erasure of authentic emotion. They can recognize the patterns, honor the skills, and begin to navigate life with intentionality rather than reflex. This awakening is subtle but transformative. It reframes restraint from a survival mechanism into a conscious practice. They see themselves not as passive or detached, but as skilled, aware, and capable of choosing how to inhabit both internal and relational spaces. The moment of awareness is not dramatic. It is quiet, reflective, and deeply human. Yet its implications ripple through thought, behavior, and emotional experience. The calm surface is now understood, appreciated, and, for the first time, intentionally navigated rather than unconsciously maintained. In recognizing the architecture of their restraint, they begin to balance harmony and authenticity. They see that anger is not forbidden, only optional, and that expressing it thoughtfully can coexist with serenity. The person who never gets angry begins to understand that the power of calm lies not in suppression alone, but in conscious, wise, and deliberate choice. Balance begins with recognition that calmness, though valuable, is not the whole story. The person who never gets angry begins to see that serenity is only sustainable when paired with self-awareness. Peace does not demand erasure of self. Presence does not require the absence of emotion. To navigate life fully, they must learn to hold both simultaneously. They practice observing triggers without immediate suppression. When irritation arises, they notice its texture, physical tension, mental rumination, or emotional ripple. Without reacting impulsively, anger becomes data, not action. It is felt, acknowledged, and processed internally, giving them insight into personal boundaries, needs, and desires. Boundaries become central. Previously invisible limits are now articulated gently but firmly. Requests for space, pauses in conversation, or declining overcommitments are not acts of defiance, they are acts of self-preservation. Balance is achieved when connection to others does not compromise connection to self. Communication shifts subtly. They express frustration thoughtfully, calmly, and without escalation. A statement of boundary is delivered with clarity, not aggression. A disagreement becomes an opportunity for insight rather than conflict. The art lies in integration, expressing emotion without disrupting the relational equilibrium they value so deeply. The nervous system learns flexibility. Physiological responses to irritation or injustice are no longer automatically deferred. Heart rate, muscle tension, and cortisol spikes are acknowledged, regulated, and discharged in healthy ways. Through breathing, reflection, or constructive conversation, calm is no longer imposed externally, it is cultivated internally. Social interactions evolve. They maintain harmony, yet their presence carries authenticity. Others may notice subtle changes: confidence, assertiveness, or the gentle fortification of boundaries. Respect deepens, not through dominance or confrontation, but through conscious, consistent self-expression. This balance also nurtures emotional health. Resentment diminishes, fatigue eases, and a sense of agency grows. The internal conflict described in previous chapters softens, replaced by intentional calm that honors both relational and personal needs. They no longer feel tension between being present and being true. They can inhabit both states simultaneously. Importantly, this balance is iterative. It is refined through reflection, experience, and ongoing self-monitoring. Mistakes, lapses, or moments of old reflexes are met with awareness rather than judgment. Peace and presence are not destinations, they are practices, cultivated patiently over time. Through conscious integration, the person who never gets angry learns the full potential of calm. Serenity becomes choice, not compulsion. Harmony becomes sustainable, not burdensome. And emotional intelligence, once a product of suppression, becomes wisdom, allowing both self and others to flourish. Ultimately, balancing peace and presence is the reconciliation of paradox. They are calm, yet fully engaged. They are gentle, yet assertive. They are serene, yet authentically alive. In this harmony, restraint transforms from limitation into empowerment, and the quiet life becomes a testament to both strength and insight. The quiet strength of those who never get angry is often invisible to the world, yet profoundly felt. It is not the force of confrontation, nor the volume of voice, but the steady gravity of presence. Their calm is a space others can inhabit safely, a pause in the turbulence of life where reflection, patience, and understanding take root. This strength is both relational and internal. They perceive emotions beneath the surface, navigate tension with grace, and respond to conflict without escalation. They are mirrors, guides, and stabilizers, anchoring relationships not with dominance, but with awareness and attunement. Theirs is a mastery of social currents, a subtle orchestration of interaction where harmony does not require self-erasure. Internally, the quiet strength manifests as insight. They understand the cost and utility of every emotion, every impulse. Anger is experienced but not weaponized. Frustration is acknowledged, not expressed destructively. Boundaries are maintained without aggression. Patience is exercised without passivity. Even silence becomes powerful. Their lack of overt anger is not absence, it is choice. It communicates clarity, resilience, and moral composure. They move through life with intention, demonstrating that presence, restraint, and empathy can be as potent as passion or outburst. There is also wisdom born from restraint. They see beyond immediate reaction to patterns, motivations, and long-term consequence. They navigate relationships with foresight, emotional calibration, and careful observation. Conflict becomes a teacher rather than a trap. Frustration becomes a signal rather than a burden. Yet, the strength is human, not superhuman. They carry subtle tension, moments of fatigue, and private reflection. They may wonder what it is like to erupt, to release, or to assert without modulation. But even these thoughts are contained, processed, and integrated, contributing to their profound self-awareness. Their calm is a gift to themselves and to others. It fosters trust, stability, and reflection. It allows connection without chaos, engagement without friction, and influence without domination. They demonstrate that power can exist without anger, and wisdom without agitation. In the end, the person who never gets angry embodies a paradox: resolved serenity that is neither passivity nor denial, presence that is neither submission nor invisibility, strength that is quiet, weightless, and enduring. Their lives remind us that emotion need not always erupt to be meaningful. Calm can be courageous, patience can be transformative, restraint can be a profound expression of self, and in their steady, measured way, they leave a lasting imprint, not in the storms they incite, but in the sanctuary they create, a calm that teaches, holds, and endures. The quiet strength of those who never get angry is both rare and luminous, a testament to human grace, resilience, and wisdom.